Hey everyone, and welcome to the Life Switch Show. My guest today is Andrea, and we are going to be talking about creating the life you love. Right, so before we begin, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell. That way you get notified every time we go live. Also, if you're on Facebook, don't forget to like my Facebook page, Adam Kowalek, Business Mindset Coach. So, anyone who's been paying attention know that Andrea has been on the show before. And in celebration of this show, this is the 20th episode. So we thought we'll do things a slightly different this time. So my guest is Andrea, but the person in the hot seat today, I would say, is myself. We're going to do a turn the table kind of approach. So before I bring Andrea in, let me just introduce her to you guys. So Andrea is my partner, not just in business, but also in life. She is a holistic skincare therapist. She is a summit expert, I want to say. She hosted her brilliant summit in February. She's building a Swedish one coming up next, but I'm not going to tell too much about that. She might need to say that herself. She is an amazing person who basically makes a huge difference in the world through the hippiness that she tends to bring every time she goes into a conversation. Right, a big welcome to Andrea for joining this show a second time.
Oh my God! Hello. Okay, I just have to finish my little film. Okay, so hippiness, that's what you told me. Yes.
Yeah. This is exciting. I mean, first of all, the show looks different. The studio is different since the first time you and I went on to do this. And the other big difference is I'm on the other side of this, which is usually the side of my guests. And, because I'm supposed to be the one who's kind of being interviewed, we've put me on this side of the table.
So today I can be the brain picker of Adam. Oh, that is very interesting. Yeah, and any questions are welcome. And today's topic is create the life you love. And, we've been living our lives alongside each other for over 8 years. And during that time, it has been such a transformation for both of us, right? Everyone's talking about personal growth and everything, but oh my God, this is the definition of personal growth for me. And you have helped my life so much, and I know that I've influenced your life, but really the big switches that you have made, and I think why we have this show, a life switch show, making this switch. That's what I would love to learn more about, or that everyone who's watching learns more about. What's happening or what has happened in your life? Who's Adam? Who were you before you were a coach?
Well, yeah, okay. Well, first of all, I think this is such a funny situation. Being interviewed by your partner is both very interesting and scary at the same time, because she knows so much about me. I can't make anything up. I can't bluff my way out of this. She will call my bluff for sure. And it's live. I can't get away. So yeah, I'm more than happy to go into that. And we've got Annika's here. We've got Sarah Jones from London here. I'm always grateful to see people tuning in live to catch this. As we go forward, Andrea said, if you have any questions, please put them in the comment sections. That way we can pull them in and we can actually interact with them live. So feel free to do so. All right. Did you just ask me why I became a coach, why I went into life coaching?
No, I didn't. I asked you, who is Adam? Who was Adam before he became coach? Yeah. Tell us about you.
Good. Okay. So, something that some people might not know about me is I actually trained to become an actor and a dancer. I wasn't a good dancer. I was way too heavy, way too unflexible. But I had to because the school that I applied for, they only, well, they kept the two trainings together. If you wanted to be an actor, you also needed to dance, which actually I think tells a bit about how the industry works. Like as a theater actor, you want to have some skill levels in singing, dancing, and expressing your body. So that's what I got to do, and I've known I wanted to be an actor since I was 6 years old. I used to walk around telling people I'm either going to be an actor or I'm going to be a monster maker. So that's what I called it when you see these FX makeup things going on TV. I love those things. I don't like horror movies though, but I do like when they create masks and monsters and stuff like that. I really like that. So I was like an actor or a monster maker, or possibly a scientist. But that was a really, like, there was plan C. Nobody wants to be a scientist, but I was kind of like, if I fail at the other things, I'll be a scientist. And so I was 6 years old when I knew this. I was 12 when I started acting. And I started acting as Rasmus på luffen, as you would say in Swedish, which I have no idea what it's called in English. But it's a one very famous saga or story by Astrid Lindgren, which is a very famous Swedish child book author. That's what I did. I did a couple of other things as well before I actually started studying the acting piece. And I was actually employed at a theatre. And that's around the time when I was studying to get into the Royal Academy of Acting in Sweden. And that's when I kind of had this, one of my first epiphanies, or like switches, life switches in my life, where I was working late one night with my mentor and manager at the time. And I was just working really hard on this monologue and, studying for the audition to get into the Royal Academy. And I broke down. I just said, like, no, I don't want to do this. I think what I want to do is just run away for a while. I just want to run away and just understand who I am better. Yeah, yeah. Annika is saying, my age here. Yeah, I mean, some people would argue that I've got like 1,000-year-old soul in me. But anyway, so my mentor, she said, that could possibly be one of the smartest things you've said since you came here. And it's not that she wanted me to stop acting, it's that she wanted me to explore. She wanted me to find out more about myself. So she said to me, next time I hear from you, better be from a postcard. And I was like, did I just get fired? And she said, no, not really. It's really up to you, she said. But I do want you to go out there and do something else, if you want to. So I did. I decided I wanted to move to New York. I thought that's a great idea. I'm going to do that. And I managed to get a job in New York, and I was about to leave. But this was 2004, and it was that they had some really hard security things in place after 9/11. So they had needed a bank statement. I needed to have a lot of money in my bank in order to go there. There were all kinds of things. So that job fell through. I couldn't do it, and I was so upset. I was so angry with that. So out of my frustration, I just booked a one-way ticket to London. I thought, right, I'm going to go to London then. That's easier enough. So I packed a bag on a Wednesday. I thought maybe hang on. It was a Friday. I packed a bag on a Friday. I went and I thought maybe I'll come back next Friday. It was a Wednesday, almost a year later, that I actually came back. So I created myself a small life in London or outside of London, in Windsor. Windsor, for anyone who might not be familiar, is the place of the that's where the Queen is from, the Windsor family. It's also where Elton John lives, Natalie Imbruglia. It's a really posh place, a really cool place. So I ended up there. I worked as a bartender and stuff like that. So, God, I mean, I could possibly go on forever. Andrea, ask me something. Tell me something.
Oh my God, yeah, you lived wall to wall with the Queen, although you shared, like everyone, the youngster working as a bartender themselves, like you shared a room with other people from all over the world. And yeah, so when you came back, or let's just pick up the question from Annika first, like, have you always been so wise? What would you say? I mean,
Yeah.
I know. Can I just say, like, when you were a small kid, you told me that you just loved to lock yourself into your room and draw paintings, figures, like action figures. You loved movies. You watched movies. That's how you basically started learning English. And then obviously in England, it's like you got the British accent, like as the cherry on top. But yeah, you are such a creative person.
Yeah.
And have you been like this, when you were young? Were you like a wise person already then?
All right. It is a good question. And thank you for bringing that up. Okay. So, to honor the topic of the show and even the essence of the show, I think I'm going to say this. And this is something that I'm working on myself right now in the coaching and the work I do with my clients. I believe that there are some clues. If you look at yourself, who you were as a child, a lot of times we will find the essence of our personality. And I'm doing this because I do think that personalities can be reinvented, but that's maybe another conversation to have. What I'm saying is there are preferences. We might have certain things we enjoy doing or not. And I mean, I think there is a reason why I'm in the career I am today, as a coach, as a mentor, as a teacher at times, and and actually my plan C, being a scientist. I have to say I'm more closer to that today than I am an actor, because I'm much more researching, studying, creating formulas and methods and frameworks to achieve things. And if you look at how I lived or behaved as a child, I was very, very, thoughtful. I was very introverted. Well, that's a nuance could say. But I had that, like, I'm an introvert because I actually charge my batteries in solitude, meaning by myself. I'm a very extroverted person, like I enjoy people, but if I need to charge my batteries, that's going to be done with me closing the door, doing my things. So I drew, as you said, I made, all kinds of things. I was actually quite good at it.
You were really good, like amazing, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Yes.
something I considered doing as a career as well for a while.
You're
And
writing
then,
poems, stories.
yeah, I was going to say, I wrote a lot of poems. I did that, some really sobby romantic stuff because I was really into that. So I did a lot of that as well. I had a lot of these things. I spent many hours inside my room. I had this ritual. I would play one song that I really loved. I would play it forever. And when I was younger, there was cassettes. Like there were CDs, of course, but in the beginning, when I started listening to music, we just didn't buy CDs. So it ended up me having cassettes, and I listened to Simon and Garfunkel on repeat. I listened to Sting and the Police on repeat. So and even my parents, they were like, where did you pick this up? Because they were into electronic music, like dance music, because they're young. My parents are young. So they were really into that. And I was like, no, I wanted old school. So I used to stay in my room, coming up with these drawings and stuff like that. Sarah asked about, show us some drawings. Unfortunately, I actually don't think
I have one.
Yeah?
Yes, I'm sending it to Agatha so she can pull it up.
Okay, cool. Maybe we can bring one up.
It's just a quick one. Like that's a 30-second drawing.
Yeah. So, I
Yeah.
mean, so back to your question, was I always wise? No, I don't think so, but I did spend a lot of time thinking. I spent a lot of time, what's the English word? Like, well, philosophy, but I'm trying to come up with a verb here. I spent some time just basically thinking, pondering ideas.
Yeah.
And I guess, why I want to highlight that is because anyone listening to this, I'm actually inviting you to do very much the same. Not from a place of judgment, not from a place of right or wrong, good or bad, but just look at how did you spend time when you were perhaps 10, 11, 12, 13, and look at the themes, the patterns around that. I'm not going to say it's a 100% accurate, but I do want to say that, you do this and there might be things that you can rediscover that you enjoy doing as a child and might enjoy doing again as an adult.
Can I jump in here? Because what you're saying, I absolutely agree with it. I think, as children, because we are so like innocent and our emotions or feelings are very pure, we instantly know if we like something, if we don't, like we remember like, oh, how did this or that feel, like this good situations or good, I don't know, like, yeah, moments. So I think there is definitely something there. So, just when I'm thinking about myself, it's yeah, I love being with friends. I love being, out discovering, being on adventure. I just kept doing it because I stayed true to my intuition and
Yeah.
having my, really intuition guiding me. So, but I see and I understand that people can get lost on that track. So can we maybe continue where we left off with your acting? Because, okay, you came back from the UK, and as far as I know, you wanted to make a movie
Yeah.
because you were writing scripts and all of it. So you wanted to make a
Yeah.
movie. What happened?
Yeah. So exactly. So coming back from England, I kind of felt like I didn't want to do necessarily the acting anymore, but I had been, even when I was acting, I did write a lot of scripts and ideas for movies. And I think I had some really cool ones, that I created. And, I was thinking along the lines very much the creative way that I did. I was like, I'm going to do an indie production. I don't want to have a studio or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to film like a trailer for one of my scripts, and I'm going to show that to someone who's willing to invest so that I can have the money to actually produce the whole thing. So very much the same as you would do with perhaps an online course these days. So you would create a trailer or a sales page where you're talking about what you're going to be offering. Then you get people to sign up on a wait list or pre-purchase. And then once interest is big enough, that's when you can kind of release your finished product and having gotten paid while doing it. So that was my idea. And I recognized, okay, so in order to do this properly, I wanted to have camera equipment, proper equipment. Now, this was slightly before, everything went super digital with smartphones and everything. We're talking about like 2005, something like that at the end of it. And so I figured I need more money. I definitely need more money. So I thought I'm going to get a job. So IKEA was hiring, and I thought, yeah, that's good. I've worked with the packages for the Swedish postal office. I can do things like that. I'm good with stuff like that. I'm going to go apply for IKEA. And the really funny thing is, oh yeah, okay, cool. So we actually have the drawing in-house, so it's being queued up. Yeah, Agatha, please. I have no idea what this is. No. Of all the drawings. Yeah.
So this is literally like, this takes you like 1 second of a tiny piece of paper, but you just get it so right, the expression and the animal you can see. It's a ferret that we had. And it was a mistreated ferret that we adopted. So it wasn't very socially adapted. So it was constantly attacking us and thinking of attacking. So yeah, that's what you draw for some reason. But
Yeah.
yeah, you have so amazing drawings of people and
Oh.
bodies and like really getting it right. So yeah, this was fun.
Well, I used to be quite. I mean, I think drawing is a skill that you can train, and at least it's become for me like if because I'm not entertaining it or maintaining it anymore, I do lose the connection to the actual drawing. But yeah, that was one of them. Thank you for that. Thank you, Agata, for doing such a great job making that happen. Yeah, so back to me wanting to buy the equipment. So I got a job at IKEA, and I thought, it's going to be an easy thing. I just need to make money so I can buy my equipment and start shooting my trailers and start selling the scripts. And about 3 months into working for IKEA, two of the managers, they approached me and they said, "Hey, Adam, have you ever thought about, doing some management and becoming a foreman or something like that?" And I said, no, not really. I'm just here to, make some money and do my films. And they said, "Well, we've got an opening and we'd be interested if you wanted to take that on." And this is so funny how I was thinking in that time. I was like, "Does it pay more?" And they said, "Yeah." Okay, cool. I'll take it. So I was completely driven by my passion of creating films. So I was just like, "I'll take it." And the really surprising thing is, when I did, I ended up realizing I loved working as a leader. I didn't know that at the time. Well, if I think about it, I did know it because I did directing as well on stage. And me doing that, I realized it's very similar to leading people. Like being a director is extremely similar to leadership, I think. Because it's very much the same. In leadership, in a business, you have a vision, you execute the mission, and you do that through people. In acting on stage, it's very much the same. You've got a script, a vision of that script, you're executing on that script, and you're doing that through the actor's own abilities to make those roles come alive. So I was able to transfer that, I guess. And yeah, let's not make that too long, but what ended up happening was I loved it. So I started working way more than I should. Like I worked probably 6 or 7 days a week, 16 hours a day, not because I had to, but because I enjoyed it. My dreams of making a movie got replaced by my ambition and my passion for leading people and developing the company of IKEA. And I had a rocket career as a top-level manager for IKEA, and I grew quite a bit. And at the height of my career, I was basically being groomed to become one of the youngest country managers of IKEA. And that story is pretty funny because if you think about my background, I used to dance, I used to act, and all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but 9 years later, I was being groomed to become this really top level manager. So yeah, and yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Can you tell me about, this interview to, like basically this last interview that you had with the head of, like the European head of IKEA, and what he asked you and what happened, what switched?
Yeah, I mean, that is such a good point. Again, this is the next life switch. It's very similar to what I had an experience with my mentor when I was an actor. So, I mean, I said, "I don't want to do this." And she said, "What would you do? What would you rather do?" And that's when I said, "I want to run away." So fast forward to the time when I'm in this room with the European head of IKEA and the Swedish CEO of IKEA as well. And I get the question, "Who are you doing this for?" And I was like, "What?" And I'd never been asked that question. I think like he could tell this guy, he was the CEO for a while at the Swedish IKEA. And he said, "Who are you doing this for?" And because my answer wasn't for me necessarily, or there wasn't a bigger purpose or reason behind it, he knew. He knew that you know, he knew that I could do this job. It's just unless I switch my mindset and my approach to this, I will burn out. And so when he asked that, it was almost like I had my own like out of body experience, looking at myself, realizing I was just playing. Again, I was just playing this role of who I should be to please people, so that I could feel worthy and loved and all kinds of things. And it got me really thinking like, okay, so if I'm not doing this for me, who am I doing this for, and why? And this was a Friday, again, a Friday. I never actually made that connection. This was a Friday. And I was driving back home, and, you know, I stopped by you because you were living in Linköping. I was in Älmhult, the heart of IKEA. And after the weekend, I was going back to Älmhult, and this was a really early morning. I probably started driving around 5 a.m. or something like that. And I was driving, and the sun was coming up. And the warm rays of the sun just came through the window and really warmed me up. And I took this deep, deep breath. I was like, oh God. And I felt so relaxed. And I realized, Jesus, when was the last time I felt like that? When was the last time I felt so at peace? And that's when I realized, wow, if I say yes to this job, I'm going to have more of what I already have. And so far, I'm not, super happy, super satisfied, and I'm definitely not having a lot of peaceful moments. So that was on Monday, and I kind of like, oh shit, I probably need to switch something. So Monday evening, I'm calling you, going like, Andrea, I think I'm going to quit. And if I do you want to travel? And you said, yes, of course I do. And this was Monday. On Wednesday, I actually handed in my resignation. And 2 weeks later, I left the company. And I guess what this is about was that, and this goes back to what Steve Jobs said in his speech 2012 for this, graduation class of Stanford, I think it was, where he says, when I wake up in the morning, I walk up to the mirror and I ask myself, what I'm about to do today, do I want to do it? And if the answer is no too many days in a row, something needs to change. Now, it wasn't as drastic as that, but to me it was that experience. It was me realizing that what I am doing is not getting me more of what I want. And the sunrise and the peacefulness was the wake-up call to say, Adam, that's what you're missing. That's what you want to have back. I mean, I used to have that as a child. I used to go on my walks for hours. I used to sing. I used to, make poems and stuff like that. And I didn't have that. I was like hustling, working. Not because IKEA demanded it, because I wanted it. But now something shifted. Something else became more important.
Exactly. And I also know that when you started IKEA, you felt, needed, wanted, important, worthy, because you were so good at your job, developing people, developing systems, developing a business. So what happened when you got that question? It wasn't for that reason anymore, to feel important, to feel acknowledged. So
again, I love the fact that my partner gets to interview me because she knows this in detail. It is an important distinction. What ended up happening, and I want to say this for anyone who might find themselves in a situation right now where they're not necessarily loving it or liking it. There's nothing bad in that. You're not bad. You're not incomplete. You're not a failure. Not at all. I truly believe that we do what we do because it's, we think it makes us feel better. It's part of our association linking up with how we add to our own identities and stories. So let me explain that a bit. My acting, me becoming a manager, they are very similar. And this is a bit vulnerable to say. The reason why Well, I wasn't aware of this, but the reason why acting was a passion of mine and why I was good at it, the reason I was a good manager, at the time at least, was because I was super driven to do my best always and all times. Like it was great with people, all of that. Why that was the case is because that's how I got recognition. That's how I felt valuable and loved. So, and if you think about it, anything that makes you feel worthy, valuable, or loved, you're going to do more of, not less, right? That's why I'm saying if anybody's in a situation they don't like right now, see how that's most likely has to do with the autopilot. It is giving you something. Like me overworking myself at IKEA gave me something. It gave me recognition. It gave me appreciation, a self-worth. Actually, I found it to be really effective to be a top level manager because you could measure your self-worth. I could measure it in my leadership index. I could measure it in my salary. I could measure it in the number of people I was responsible for. There are so many measurements in business that I could use to say, I'm worthy, I'm valuable, I'm something, I'm important. And the reason why that was important was because I felt I lacked self-love, self-respect, self-worth. So I was compensating, right? On stage, it was the same thing. On stage, when people gave me applause, that was the best. It was like crack or cocaine, right? It was like, oh, this is the best thing ever. But it was also cocaine or crack, which means it was not good for me, right? It was actually quite addictive and not making me very happy. There would be a high, and then there would be a low. So I needed IKEA. I used IKEA very much the same as I would with my parents. Like I wanted their love. We all do. We all want our parents' love and recognition. And I used IKEA very much the same. I looked at my managers and I tried to please them all the time. And this was the exact case in that room when he asked me, who are you doing it for? And I realized, oh shit, I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for you, not me. But there was a shift. There was a transformation along the way. When I was 27, around 27, I was really overweight, really stressed out, didn't really have much time for friends or relationships of any kind or meaningful ones. And I decided I wanted to change that. So everybody else in my age, they were talking about like, oh God, soon I'll be 30. Oh, everything is going to go downhill after that. And I figured, well, or not. Maybe I can make it into maybe the best time of my life. So I decided, okay, I'm 27. What if I committed to making the next 3 years my journey to my peak physical performance? So I started exercising, started shifting around my diet, stuff like that. And then I hit 30 and let's not go into details. I didn't get to the peak of my performance before I was 30 or even when I was 30 because I was really applying really the wrong health advice out there, but that's another conversation to have. But the surprising thing happened when I started showing up for myself, and this is the lesson I want people to take away from this. When I started showing up for myself, and the way I define that is I started taking care of myself. I started showing myself self-love. You know, you got love up there. Because I went to the gym, not because I was ugly or because I hated myself, but because I wanted to change. I felt there were more things I wanted. I wanted to take care of my own diet because I deserved better. All of those things over the course of 3 years helped build up my self-love, self-worth, self-respect. So what happened when I was 30, being offered the position of a country manager, somewhere along the lines, my self-worth was so high that the need for IKEA was so much lower. At one point, they did intersect. And I probably should have left at that point, but I didn't. I stayed at IKEA a bit longer. And I can go back and see that's when I lost my motivation. That's when I lost my mojo. So what I'm saying is, what truly made me take that leap of quitting IKEA and following my heart was that for the first time, I felt like I didn't need IKEA. In fact, I realized I don't need anyone, including you, which is a really weird thing to say. But that's how we managed to build this extremely healthy and loving relationship. It's because I don't need you, I want you.
Exactly.
I don't need IKEA, and I also didn't want it anymore. And that's how I could leave, right? So that was really it. Like once you start recognizing the self-worth and cultivating that from the inside, it's easier to make those decisions.
Yeah. I think, it's a very empowering story, because basically what you discovered is that it lies within you. You just needed to go inwards, to listen to it, to find it, and to nurture it. So I think that is like the key to so many issues that we have today. And so yeah, I remember like it was a Wednesday when you actually quit your job, like when you were saying like, no, I'm stopping, and that you were the sales manager at the heart of IKEA in Elmwood, where IKEA was founded, and it was like, so many people were like saying, what are you doing? How can you leave that position? And what are you going to do now? Like, and this is also really, I know it's a vulnerable chapter in your life, but it's, I think, also a very important one. So we went traveling. You left IKEA, and I left my job that I mean, I was somehow in a situation where I was like, yeah, let's try Sweden for a while, like have a proper job. And I got a really good job, like a head kitchen chef, and I love, making food as well. So anyways, we left for Cambodia. And what happened?
Yeah, I mean, all of these stories, I hope people are getting something from, when it comes to creating the life you love, right? Because it really, there are some real powerful lessons here. I hope people are seeing this. Also, before I go into that, these days, Andrea, we're trying to make these episodes around 45 minutes or so.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Yeah, I mean, we're still good, but saying 10 minutes or so, we try to, wrap up. So back to Cambodia. Well, it's funny. Here I thought that just going to paradise would solve all my issues. Like, I up until that time, I'd never really taken a vacation because I've always worked. I'm going to say something I probably shouldn't say. I did something really stupid for IKEA. I used to take my vacation because I had to. And then I would go in and work anyway. When I get warnings about that, like I stopped clocking in, but I was still there because I just didn't have any other interest or passions besides doing what I did. So when I quit IKEA, plus I always tried to get out of vacation. Like you were supposed to take certain amounts of weeks off, and I really always tried to get out of that. So at the end, when I quit, someone actually called me from the central office saying like, Adam, we've got a discrepancy in the system. It says you've got like, I can't remember, but it was like loads of weeks of vacation left. And they said that can't be possible. And I said, well, I've actually never really taken vacation. And they said, that's illegal. Like you're not supposed, we have to fix this. Like this can't be in the system. So they ended up, paying just like a big chunk of money to get rid of that. So we went to paradise with all the money we could possibly need. And in one of the most beautiful places on this planet, I absolutely think so. And I fell into depression. I couldn't get out of bed. And this is so weird. Here you go thinking like, oh, Mai Tais on the beach, coconuts for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Like what else would you need? And I'm depressed. I can't get out of bed. You tried. Like, you're like, Adam, just get up, have breakfast, go out, enjoy yourself. What's wrong with you? And I was like, I just need to sleep. And I just went to sleep. And I slept for days.
Yeah.
And what I discovered, I think, from that is it's not that we want free time. We do want free time. But what we do want is purpose. We want to have a meaningful free time. And me quitting IKEA, not having necessarily a plan, and I'm not saying plan as in you need to have a plan, but like I didn't have, as I said, I used to work over my vacations because I didn't have anything more meaningful outside. So me quitting, realized like I don't have anything meaningful. So I went into like this 5-month depression, which was hard for us. It was hard for me. And at the same time, I knew that going through that was going to make me stronger. I had to go through that. So I had to like understand what this was about. And it's when I realized that depression to me was absolutely just a wake-up call. That was just it. Like it told me that, Adam, you're not living life on your terms. So I welcomed that. So I sat down and I went like, right, so what is life living on my terms? And what I did discover was that, first of all, I didn't want to work as much or as long hours as I used to do. I also didn't want to be a slave under money or expenses, costs, which I had been. I had a really shitty relationship with money and bills and payments and stuff like that. So I wanted to get out of that. And I knew that I loved working with people. I loved creating a change. I loved coaching. Coaching was a skill or a method that I used as a leader. So I knew I wanted those things. I knew I wanted more free time to run closer to nature, stuff like that. So that's when I started creating that life, because I got really clear on what it was. Now, just because I got clear on that didn't mean that all of a sudden I had it, but I had a direction. I had a direction in which I could head, and it gave me a sense of purpose. So my depression kind of went away overnight because I was all of a sudden plugged in to my purpose, what was really making me come alive. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are details here, but I think that
of course. But it's I think it's about, suddenly when you lose or when you walk away from something that has defined you for so many years, you then suddenly have to redefine yourself. You have to find your own way, and I think you did it. And I remember that we, you asked the question like, what is the perfect day? What is it I really need? And you started figuring those things out. Yeah. And you even tattooed them on your arm.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's maybe we can, this could be maybe one of the final pieces, because it's definitely, when it comes to creating the life you love, this is what I will say about that. So before I show the tattoo and explain it, let's just talk about this. So Henry Thoreau, I think he said, the best things in life, they are free and wild. Donatella Versace said, the best things in life are free. The second best things are crazy expensive. So I think, between Henry Thoreau and Donatella Versace, there is some truth. So I want to explain that. I honestly believe that money just makes us more who we are. Okay, so money works as a multiplier, and that's a whole other conversation to have, but it works as a multiplier. So like if you're a certain person with a certain certain personality, you add more money to that, you're going to express more of yourself with that money. So I figured out what makes me truly happy. What do I need to feel really happy? And this is like, I shrunk it down to a perfect day. Like when I go to bed tonight, what are the things, if I had, got them done or had them in my life, I'd be content. Let's call it content, because happy, go to a party if you need to be happy. We're talking about, like Annika, my colleague in this industry, she would call the inner happiness, like the true happiness. It doesn't feel like going to a party happy. It's something else. It's peaceful. And I came up with it. There are 5 things I need to be happy and content. Number 1, I need to have food in my belly. Okay, I need food. I'm not very, unique there. Most people do. Number 2, I need a roof over my head. okay? Because I need safety. I need to feel like, I'm not going to be attacked or a wild animal's going to, drag me into the woods, because they would in Cambodia, where I came up with this. It scared me quite a bit. And the third one being, I need to be able to run or exercise. Let's call it exercise for the simplicity of it. It was running at that time. The fourth thing is I need access to internet. Because in the internet, I can keep in touch with people. I can keep learning, which is part of my passion. I can read books and stuff like that. And I thought at the point, this is really funny, I have to say this. I thought at the point I was done. I was like, I've got four things, all I need. And you reminded me, you said like, but how about love and relationships? And I was like,
okay, like I have love tattoo. That's how important it is to me. Like,
and that just really tells the story of who I am, actually, because I was so driven around like everything else that I forgot the relationships, which I also did in my career. And you're absolutely right. So the fifth thing was relationships. I needed or wanted relationships, and obviously relationships are broad for a reason. So that can be close friends, close partners, or family. Now, here's the really cool thing. Look, I need these 5 things to feel content. None of these things are so specific that you can say, well, that's going to cost this much or this much. So look at this. If I make, okay, this is hard without going into too much details. Say that I make an average of $1,500 a month, for example, just an average, $1,500 a month. Then if that's enough to get, give me food, a roof over my head, so that I can exercise, so that I can have access to internet, so that I can spend time with my friends, that's where I would put my money. Now, you can really go into how much does it really cost to have food in your belly? Well, if you're really in a bind and you're not making a lot of money, you can decrease that quite a bit, right? Maybe you can't afford organic, so you'll eat anything that you can get your hands on. That's fine. If you're really in a financial bind, then perhaps you can't afford your own place, so you co-live. Right? You live with people, you rent a room, you share a room, worst case scenario. Even worse, perhaps, move into your parents' basement, right? So you can decrease your costs. Exercise. Well, if you have good money, maybe you have a really premium gym membership somewhere that gives you access to classes and free smoothies and all kinds of stuff, right? But if you don't have that much money, then going outside for a walk is free. Or doing push-ups on your bedroom floor is free, right? Internet. Well, if you've got money, you can have a computer, you can have your own internet connection, and you're good to go. If you don't have money, like literally no money at all, well, I know in Sweden, for example, you can get one of those library cards. I think you probably had to put like a $5 deposit, but you get a library card and you can book a computer to access the internet for free. Like if that was really what that was about, all I need to muster is $5 for the deposit for that plastic card so that I can rent a computer to access internet. Okay. And finally, relationships. If relationships are costing you money, you're in the wrong relationship. They're not supposed to be expensive. I mean, you can do stuff together, of course, but they're not supposed to cost money.
Free.
Yeah, exactly. So can you see how like the best things in life are supposed to be free? And if you ever do have to pay for it, you can scale up, you can scale down based on your income level. Now, this gave me tremendously, is that the way we say it? Like tremendous freedom. Okay, it gave me massive freedom because I realized how I can scale my costs. So, fun fact, you and I, we used to live on like $600 per month together. And I mean, that wasn't a very luxurious, way of living, but we could do that. So we just like split it down to half. You responsible for 300.
We had our own place. We were living in the city center. We were working half time because we were working on our companies. That's
Yeah.
what we wanted to do. So
Yeah.
we chose to only earn that money back then, to just give our own companies the time and headspace to invest our time in it. And yeah, we had a great year that year. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It allowed us to actually build these
yeah,
businesses that we today
yes,
have, right?
yeah,
Because we made sure that we didn't have to divide our attention, time, and energy to other things. Now, I was responsible for 300, you were responsible for 300. So we still managed to make that happen, right? And it's really funny. I mean, at the time, we did exactly this. Okay, we've got roof over our head. We got a really cheap place. We were lucky that way. The food wasn't all organic, of course. You know, we're plant-based vegans, so you know we could grow our food, but we don't have that farmland or anything. So that was out of the question. So, you know, and you're a chef, so you can cook almost anything from nothing. So, you know, we were lucky that way as well. Exercise. I remember I used to cross the road going to the park, and I used to do sit-ups and you know, and this was in winter, and I used to do these things, right? So that was one of the ways that I could still do the exercises and the nature, close to nature that I wanted. Internet, well, we did have internet, I believe, in-house.
I think it came with a place.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, so that was kind of part of an expense. And friends, you know, relationships. We had our relationship. We had a relationship with friends and family and stuff like that. So what I'm saying is, you could literally figure out your own 5 or your own 6 or how many, you know, important items you have. Figure those out and see. And this is how I do this. So, okay, let's get really practical about this. Figure out what your 5 or 6 things are. Now, see what, you know, create 2 scenarios. One scenario is the necessity scenario. What's the bare necessity that you would need to make in order to meet those needs or wants? Okay.
yeah,
As I said, for us, it was 600. Like if we made less than that, we wouldn't be able to do anything
yeah.
of the lifestyle we wanted.
Yeah, I remember we sat down and like, how much do we need? And we figured it out. And that just gave anything we made above that, there was like a bonus. So it was like you were saying before, it was really this freedom. Once you
Yeah.
know exactly how much you can be okay with or happy with, because the happiness comes from here and with securing those 5 things, right?
Yeah, precisely. So you've got like a bare necessity. What's the minimum that you need to make or bring in order to achieve those things here? Yeah. Then the second scenario is, what's the dream scenario? What's the really good one? Now, sometimes it's easier to do this. Sometimes what I do for my clients is I go, okay, figure out your top things, figure out the price tag, which is like a decent living, like something that would make you feel comfortable and happy at. So just for the sake of nothing, let's play with the fact that someone says, well, I want to make, $4,500 a month. Okay. That would, if I made that, my top 5 would be secured. Cool. The challenge now is do the same thing with only a third of the budget. So, you know, instead of having 4,500, you play with a third of that. If you're really frisky, you try doing that with a fourth of that money. What I'm saying is, a lot of times, scaling down that way so that you can see, oh, this is such a good topic. I mean, oh God, okay. If you do this, what ends up happening is that you get to the bottom of things. You get to the function, not the design of things. So I'll explain that. Roof over your head, that's the function. A roof over your head and 4 walls to keep you safe. Okay, that's the function. You having a 3,000 square mansion with garage and pool and stuff like that, that's design. That's desire even. Okay, that's not function. That's just, self-expression. What we're actually talking about, if you reduce the function of that house or your living accommodation, it is just roof and walls. That could be a bamboo hut on the beach, where we lived like that and we did so very comfortably. Or it could be a mansion, a castle, right? All depends on how much money you're willing to make or you're able to make. A car, let's play with that. Someone goes like, I need a Ferrari. When I have a Ferrari, I'm happy. Then I go, what's the function you're after? Because when you get to the function of it, you realize, oh, actually, it's a vehicle from A to B. It's A to B. Now, yeah, Sarah's saying like, great, I will sit down and figure out my 5 tonight. Exactly. I really think you should. It gives you a lot of freedom, a lot of ownership. Yeah. When you realize a Ferrari is actually just a vehicle from A to B, you realize if it's transportation from A to B, there are more transportation options that we can entertain. You could take the bus, you can take a taxi, you could ride a bicycle, you could walk, you could run, right? There are several ways, and all of a sudden, because we're running or walking, it became free. Now, a lot of times a Ferrari is not A to B solution. It is a different kind of issue you have when you need a Ferrari. But that's what I'm saying. When people say, I need my car. No, you don't need your car. You need the solution, the function of moving from A to B. Now, if you don't have the money, let's not overextend. Let's not become slaves of the car, but let's break down the function here. You need to be able to move from home to work or from home to wherever you want to go. You can walk, run, bicycle, bus, taxi, car, all kinds of things. Carpool, right? Share a car if you needed to, right? Yeah, we've got a comment from Annika. You too, then I could listen to you too for hours. Thank you very much for your time. Come back a third time. Yeah, precisely. So let me just see if I can summarize this.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to designing the life or creating the life you love, get really clear on this. Get really clear on what the pieces to your puzzle is. And see how most of these things are not dependent on money. And if they are, play with the thing I said. Like, if you think you need to make X amount, cool. Try dividing that with 3 or possibly 4 and see how you would do it that way. Now, why I do that is because, as I said, going into this, I truly believe that Henry Thoreau and Donatella Versace are right. The best things in life are free. So I believe that we were born perfect. We were born with everything we needed. I don't think we need all the other things. We might want them. We don't need them. So once we figure that out and we scale things down to its bare function, from there we can then grow, of course. Andrea, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, and can I just point out again that it's not about surviving on as little money as possible or not needing anything or not wanting to live in a mansion or whatever, but it's really, like I remember it so clearly. For us, it was this freedom. Suddenly we were so free. We knew like, oh my God, we only need to make like 300 each. Or, if I'm sick for a month, you can make 600 or whatever. It's like, it wasn't a problem. It was so freeing. And I think still today, we know that if we have to, for some reason, whatever happens, we have to go back to it. It would be okay. Because we were happy then, we're happy now. And it's not the money on an account that's bringing you happiness. I mean, then everyone could be happy. I mean, but it's not. So yeah, can you show us your tattoo just to?
Oh yeah, that's right. Good. Right. So can everybody? Yeah, I think you can see this.
Yeah, that's good.
So I created my perfect day. The few things I needed for a perfect day, and I said all I need is my coconut tree, so I can have my coconuts. I need my tea shrub, so I can have my tea. I need bananas, so I can sustain myself. We need the house, the roof and the walls, and we need the ocean, the water. And that was basically it. Like, it became the simplicity of that. There is no car there. There is no necessarily a pool or anything. No, it's the ocean. It's the open water. It's a lake. It's something around that. The house is not a castle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, luckily for us, I mean, we've decided to eat plant-based diets, vegan diet. So, you know, most of our things can be found close to us, grown, stuff like that. Yeah, thank you, Sarah. So, I mean,
Yeah.
for us, like, you know, living close to nature, living, you know, easy that way is just it's just something that we decided was important.
Yes. Can I just share my view?
Yeah, of
Okay,
course.
hang on a second.
Oh yeah, okay. Your view, you're yeah, yeah. There you go, banana plants.
Yes, and okay, you don't see, but it's the ocean behind.
Yeah,
So we're
it's
still
very much
living
the
the same
same. Yeah, yeah.
life.
It's very much the same. Yeah, we
Yes.
still wake up. We have, you know, either tea or a cup of coffee in the
Every
morning,
morning, yeah,
right? We
taking
still eat
time
our
to
plants.
eat, have the tea,
Yeah,
have our food. It's so important that our food is, yeah, fresh plant
yeah,
produce or whatever, that it grows close to where we are. It's like we're having more money, but we're still living the same life. Like you were saying before, it's just amplifying.
yeah.
If we
Exactly.
would get, if we would get even more money, I would just, I don't know, maybe we would have a house at the ocean, buy a house at the ocean, or I would go to the spa every day instead of once every 3 months or whatever,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
but it would be the same.
That's it. That's really it. Like we'd make more money, we would give more money, for example, to charity. Like
Yes,
we give money every month
yeah,
to, you know, dog shelters and
yes,
stuff like that, right?
yeah,
There was a
public
time,
institutions, yeah,
yeah, we couldn't do that. We could not give away money because we needed every single dollar,
yeah,
right? As we grew, we could allow us to do that. If we grew even more, we would find other ways to give back that. Why? Because it's an expression of who we are. It's an expression of what we believe in. It's you know, part of our passion, right? And that's what I'm saying. Money works as an amplifier. All right. If you're
yeah,
a miserable bastard today and you get more money, I'm sorry to say, you're going to find ways to be miserable with that money as well,
yeah,
right? Because go back to me going to Cambodia. I wasn't very happy to even when I went there. I have to say, I wasn't, because I had still not learned where to look for happiness, right? I still thought it was outside of me. So I went there having all the money I possibly needed, living on a paradise beach, and I wasn't happy. I was depressed. I was hating my life, right? So clearly that wasn't making me better just because I had more money. It wasn't until I did the work on the inside and I became a happy person, a peaceful person. That's when the money actually started serving me and amplifying the good sides of me. I'm going
yeah,
to have hate mail, I'm sure. People going like, no, money is good and all that. Listen, what I'm saying is money is dead. It's just a tool. It's an amplifier. That's all I'm saying. If you want to be happy with money, make sure you're happy without it. That's it.
yes, yes, very true. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, this hour is like way too short. I like wanted to talk with you about why are you so great with people? Like how when you ask questions, why is it so? I don't know. I don't even know how to like. I usually say it's magic, but I'm trying to find another word. But it's just so you put words onto rambling. You ask questions, people, and now I'm talking about myself. People ramble, and then you put it into clear, a clear understanding. You put it together, and that is just so freaking magical to me. And I think coming back to your childhood, um, you wanted to be a scientist or whatever, you were interested in things, and I think today you're interested in people. You are studying people. For me, it's like I have my friends, and some people I let into my circles and some not, but but you're so curious about people, and you have so much, I don't know, like, yeah, you're just really curious about the person without being driven by, I don't know, by showing off or whatever, giving advice or stuff like that. It's just really, who is that person in front of you, and you get to know them, and then you just, have this magical ability to make things clear. That is just so cool. Yeah, I'm really happy to get to use you to make my rambling clear sometimes. So it's really a gift.
I appreciate that.
It's definitely a gift that you have. Yeah.
And Sarah saying, we need to make another episode like this with Andrea coming on and interviewing me. We could, for sure go deeper into it. I do want to say, to me, it has come down to me caring, genuinely caring about people. That helps me, be a great coach. That's one of the things. And I do have a genuine interest and curiosity around people. I do want to be of service and help. So that helps. Yeah. Cool.
It does.
I mean, yes, we could easily do this for another hour. We're not gonna, because nobody's gonna watch that. But I'm super grateful. I've seen some people tuning in live, and I'm really happy that people did. I hope this was useful and helpful in kind of answering this question around how we create life we love. And with the interactions from Sarah, Annika, and Andrea, you doing a fabulous job with interviewing me, I think. I think we've gotten some clarity around this, I'm sure.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And obviously, I'm going to have to invite you back. Agatha, thank you very much for running the show in the background.
Yes.
Being able to, in such a short time, pull up my picture and everything, the drawing that I made. I appreciate that. All right. I guess I'll do the outro without you, Andrea. So thank you very much for coming on.
I don't know how to do the outro. So
no, exactly. So I'll just do that. But thank you very much for doing this, though. I really appreciated it. It was really, really, really nice to be interviewed this way. All right. Good. So thank you very much, everyone who showed up for this. It was a really powerful conversation, I think. I'm happy to be able to share some of my stories. We got a Swedish comment here. Someone saying basically, I'm a lovely person to know, and I am extremely grateful for that as well. And I hope this was useful. I hope you took away some of these lessons and possibly can apply them to yourself. Now, if anything was confusing, because it can be, you can always reach out to me. You find me on most of the social media places. Obviously in LinkedIn, I'm there. You can find me on Instagram. Reach out to me and keep this conversation going. I'm more than happy to give you any pointers that I can on this journey of yours. Thank you for tuning in today. If you're watching on YouTube, again, don't forget to like and subscribe and smash that notification bell. That way you're not going to miss next time we do something similar to this. And if you're on Facebook, like my Facebook page, Adam Kowalik, Business Mindset Coach. Right. I'll be seeing you next week, same time, same place.